All right, Rachel, it's been a long time trying to get you to come on here, and I got you on here. Um, so I had the pleasure of meeting Rachel several times in person and virtually, and I have the opportunity of her being with me today to share her journey in life, and hopefully it can touch and reach somebody else that needs to hear it. So, Rachel, I'm just going to start off with you just starting sharing who you are today. What's Rachel up to, and what are you focusing on?
Thanks, John. Well, yes, I'm so excited. I think finally ready to be on the show. So I appreciate you asking yet again. I am excited to share my journey. And I think the bigger part of it is not just what got me to where I'm at now, why I'm doing what I'm doing, but how this is going to continue to develop. And essentially, it was something to help myself, sorry, to help my clients. But in the process, it really was a big help to myself. So I'll rewind a little and just say that I have been in fitness and nutrition, health and wellness field for as long as I can remember. So I had switched my majors late in college. I decided to start with mass communications just because I love music, I love movies, and I thought, well, that's interesting. Let me go for that. I realized that's not where I wanted my career path to be. It was more of just an interest. And so I thought, what else do I like? What else do I enjoy? And I've always had an interest, a fascination with the body and movement and exercise. And more than that, even oddly enough, very oddly as a young child, wondering, well, w- h- how is what we're eating affecting us? Why are we choosing these things? I remember saying something to my mom once. Um, like, well, why do we eat this? Like, it was talking about some like cupcake type things, where why don't we just eat that, meaning something healthier? It's like, because this tastes good, of course. But I think it was always just the question of when I learned that certain things are good for you better than other things, that just was a curiosity of mine. So switching my major kind of late ended up being a really good decision in that I knew it was the path I was aligned with. Once I switched over and began to learn about the human body, learn about the anatomy and physiology, and learn actually about different aspects of nutrition, it just felt like home and it felt really good. And I thought, well, no matter what I want to do with this, and it may not be the biggest moneymaker. Now we know that there's lots of potential out there, more than there used to be back in the early 2000s. Um, but I knew that that was my career path. And so I've been in fitness and nutrition, um, gosh, I guess since around 2004. And aside from selling shoes at a shoe store where I made fabulous commission, that was fun. They're like, hey, who is that? Who helped you? Oh, that blonde girl back there, that blonde girl over there. I was just, if I was going to be there, I was going to do it. Right. I was going to make my money. Um, but yeah, it's been my only job I've really ever had in my career. So the journey now is the newest thing is health mood. And I think that's where I'll get to share with you guys a little bit more about what got me to health mood, where the idea came from, and um, the journey that I could see myself on with others in this.
So when you switched your major, did you do it because you wanted to help yourself as well, or is it just people you wanted to focus on?
I think it probably was a little bit of both. Um, when I switched my major, it was my first thought was, what can I do that I enjoy? Where can I find myself in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years that is not going to feel like a job, that is going to be fun and fulfilling? And I really did, if I knew that I had a passion for it for myself, and I wasn't in ball sports, I wasn't in a lot of different sports, but I was a runner. I enjoyed running. I still do. It was track and cross country, and then I did cheerleading. And it wasn't so much the cheerleading per se that I loved. I kind of somehow, even though I was a bit shy, I'm not so shy now. I was very shy back then. I enjoy being in front of people to like do the thing. And they looked to me for the energy and I fed that energy right back. And that was an appealing thing for that. But the strength training aspect that we did in cheerleading was really sparked my interest. I was like one of the only girls in the squad that really got into wanting to go to the school gym after school and be in the weight room. And it was a little intimidating because it was a lot of guys in there kind of doing their thing, but it's where I really got that connection with the muscles in the body to work them. And I felt the change that brought on when I lifted weights. And so that kind of started that. So when I started taking these classes, as I switched my major, I'll still credit one of my professors, Mr. Martucci. He said to me, and this is where I was still kind of lacking a bit of self-confidence and self-assuredness. And he said, Rachel, you made the right decision. You picked the right thing. You made the right choice. Go you. And it was this kind of atta-girl thing that I was like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm doing this thing. So it was really kind of twofold. To help myself to expand that passion, but I knew that passion could only translate into a big help to others.
Yeah. And what if you didn't have that professor cheering you on like that?
Ooh, yeah. Like I kind of just slid in there to say self-confidence wasn't always my strong point. And truth be told, I mean, you've met me before. We were at a recent conference and you know that self-assuredness and self-confidence is still a thing I work on and struggle with. And that's the beauty of the journey. But back then, yes, if he didn't say that, I don't know that I would have propelled myself then head first into, okay, I'm going to learn everything I need to know about this, or I can learn about this. I was doing the extracurriculars. I found myself then volunteering at volleyball. I was the strength and conditioning coach for the tennis team, the men's and women's tennis team. Did I play tennis? No, but somehow I got asked to do that. And so I learned the nuances and the pattern of movement and the muscles that should be developed for that skill and for that sport. So I think I know that one vote of confidence and that isolating me and saying, you, Rachel, you did the right thing here. You made a good choice. And it really did stick with me. Yeah. So that made a big difference.
Yeah. Obviously, if you're sharing it today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I appreciate you being vulnerable and open and sharing that, you still are working on that. And that is something everybody needs to work on. By myself, right? So I've gotten so far podcasting and talking to all these people, and it's still something you just have to keep pushing yourself a little bit further each and every day. Sometimes it takes those people on the outside to tell you that you are worth it and you do have something of value, and for you to accept that. And that's the hard part. People have to be willing to accept that part. So yeah, thanks. Thanks for sharing that. So the health mood, what is that all about?
So this is so exciting. It's so exciting because, um, as I mentioned, fitness for the most part, and then nutrition was the subcategory of what I always offered people, how I help myself best, how I helped develop more of my self-confidence because I thought, well, if you're healthy, you automatically feel better, and not automatically, but you feel better typically. And therefore, it's scientific, it's physiological. I'm going to have more self-confidence, self-esteem when I feel better, and not just saying for the outside on what I would look like. It's also internally you just feel better. And so the start of health mood, let me say, is fitness, nutrition, and soul care. And I'll get into what soul care is, kind of this umbrella term that I've come up with, but I'll get into what that means in a second. So where I believe this really truly started was I was on an acupuncture table, just having some stuff done for an issue, nothing major. And I'd always been curious about acupuncture. And I thought, let me give it a shot. Somebody was put in front of my path, and I said, well, let me give this a shot and see how this might be able to help. And so I'm laying there and I'm open to the experience. I feel like if you want to try something, you got to be fully open in your heart and in your mind. Because if you think, I'm just going to try, it's not going to work. Well, it's probably not going to work. So I'm laying there and I'm enjoying the experience. I'm feeling comfortable. And it just kind of came to me like this download is all I can kind of describe it as. This knowing, this internal knowing, not just a thought I had. You need to learn energy. You need to learn energy work. You need to learn energy medicine. And it's like, well, that's interesting. Where'd that come from? This feeling. And it was this really deep certainty that I need to learn this. And I then assumed that also from that thought, well, it's so that I could better help my clients. It's so if I'm doing this for myself, then therefore I want to do this to help my clients better and more fully. Another avenue to make them healthy and whole. And my parents aren't in the best health. And so I could do what I can, recommendations for exercise or movement, that goes only so far. Nutrition, I offer them, I give them my supplements that I take, and that helps. But this was another way that I could pull in. So I, after that, thought, well, it's going to be Reiki energy work. And if, are you familiar with Reiki energy
I
work?
haven't had it, but I know of it.
Okay.
You can mention more details about it if you like.
Okay. What I like to describe it as, and I know that there's different ways you could kind of explain it, but in its most simplest terms, aside from just saying it's energy work, it's the clearing of stuck energy, of stagnant energy. I combine it always with prayer. So I wouldn't say this phrase is, I don't know what this phrase is, but when someone says, I'm not religious, but I'm spiritual. So I have a good relationship with God, with Jesus. But I fully believe that the Holy Spirit within me, which has always been there, obviously, I feel like that's something I can pray about and tap into. What the Reiki does, it's a Japanese form of medicine, of healing, that's been practiced for a very long time. That it just, if you imagine that your connection to God, if someone's out there listening, if it's source, if it's your higher power, but for me, it's this connection to God that I'm only opening up my channels, my heart. So your body has chakras. You've got your crown chakra, your third eye, your throat chakra, your heart chakra, your solar plexus, your sacral chakra, and your root chakra. So, and you have your meridians. And all of this is just to be said that energy flows through your body, just like energy flows through anything alive. So if you have a physical trauma, a mental trauma, self-doubt, all those things, it means that energy is not flowing well through those areas, wherever they may be in your body. So when I do it for myself, I begin with prayer. And I this is coming from God. I'm just strengthening, opening. If you imagine the top of your head being your crown chakra, it's just opening that funnel broader. And maybe you are just allowing it. Maybe you're just accepting it more. It just has, more than anything, strengthened my connection to God. And I always think, as I'm beginning, God, Jesus, Emmanuel, Holy Spirit within me, it's always been there. It's just that stronger connection, I guess you can say. And it's the intentional purpose of where your intention goes, energy flows. And so whether I'm praying about a pain somewhere, or a blockage somewhere, or overcoming something, I am intending on this Reiki energy also flowing to that area, clearing out that stagnant energy. And all in all, it's just been really incredible, the way that this has changed my life. And so that was a very long story, very long, but I had gone for my first, it's level 1 Reiki certification. So you have what they call an attunement, and you learn a few of the Japanese Reiki symbols. This is Usui Holy Fire is the Reiki, the type of Reiki that I had gone through. And so with the first attunement, you learn to the symbols, and I started practicing this on myself most mornings, and I developed this as part of my healthy morning routine. And so I kept doing this as part of my morning routine, and this combined with The Miracle Morning, if you've read that book, healthy morning routine, that it was a morning routine that just sets you up in good habits. But I centered my morning routine, my Miracle Morning, on healthy habits. So it was movement. I would do about 7 minutes of yoga, stretching. I would do a little bit of reading that I know I wouldn't do any other time of the day, the self-development stuff. I hydrated really well. That's when I took my supplements and everything as well. And then I took that time to sit, be still, be quiet, pray, meditate, and do my Reiki. So this was the development of healthy morning routine. This was development of what I then called health mood, because I thought, wow, I am doing I'm taking the Miracle Morning aspects, but I'm focusing it on just health related things. And movement is part of it. There's the fitness aspect. Nutrition, I take my whole food supplementation. I hydrate really well. And I also, nutrition/intake. What am I putting in my mouth? What am I putting in my brain? What am I listening to? Which is silence, listening to my own thoughts. But what is the input? And the soul care piece is the Reiki. The soul care piece is the prayer. The soul care piece is journaling. It's getting those thoughts that are scrambled up, jambled up in your head that maybe just seem like a big cluster, and getting it out on paper so you could have it somewhere else. So all these things combined really started Health Mood. And then originally Health Mood began as, hey, I'm going to start offering people guidance in my healthy morning routine. And oddly enough, it didn't really go very far. I started doing a little bit of social media with it. I started talking about it a little bit and just learning how to do online marketing. And I think it was just falling flat because people aren't looking for necessarily like, I need to search out a healthy morning routine. I had to get to people's pain points and what is it that people want to solve with this? So I kind of kept thinking on it, meditating on it, praying about it. I went through my level 2 Reiki certification. And only then after level 2 did I realize, okay, I need to start offering Reiki to people. So I started doing Reiki sessions with others. And I got my level 3 certification. And I think through all of this, and as you go through the certifications, you get more attunements, you learn a little bit more about this. And it just, with every attunement, with every bit of practice on myself before really putting this out there to others, I just noticed a deeper sense of self-awareness, mental clarity and focus, and heightened sense of intuition. And so over time of doing my own healthy morning routine habits pretty consistently with the Reiki, with the meditation, with everything else, did I just realize that it needed to shift into the whole lifestyle, not just the morning routine. It's now developed into these healthy lifestyle habits that focus on fitness, nutrition, and soul care, but finding ways and helping people find ways. When they say the phrase that irks me, because I know there's always something we could do for ourselves, is when someone says, because it pains me to hear it, that I don't have time to be healthy. I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to figure things out. And I get it. I mean, I totally get it. I know that everybody's got a lot going on in their lives and the busyness, and it's real. It could be crippling, especially when you've got kids and family and work. And if you're an entrepreneur, the list never ends. You know, you feel like you can constantly be doing something. But it's been my joy and my focus and the fulfillment that I've gotten to help people just find that space, find that time. Where can we put these different various aspects of health, these 3 pillars of good health. Where can we wedge a little bit in here and a little bit in there? Because what's amazing to me is that snowball effect that begins to happen once you get that little bit in here and there of what changes can occur.
Yeah. So just to piggyback off of that a little bit is, what is more important to you? So that's where you have to find the time, right? Is it watching TV or something like that? Or, is that more important, or is it actually what you're going to focus on and do now that's going to provide better health, better care for you in the future? Maybe you live longer, right? That's the idea. That's what I would want. Um, that's what I've learned myself personally is, you have to find the time to exercise and do, Reiki if that's something that you choose to do, because that's going to help change everything for you. And I agree with what you said about exercise. It's not just on the outside, it's what's inside too. And so if it does build up your brain, it does, make you more confident, more disciplined. And if you go missing it, I don't know if you miss it, probably not, but if you miss it a few times, then you feel like, where is it? Like, I need to get that back going. And if you have the tracking all set where you say, okay, this is what I did, this is how I got to where I am today, you can go back and just start over, somewhere, pick up somewhere, because you already have the blueprint, the groundwork to keep moving forward. I do like how you shared Reiki with prayer. That's new for me. Like, I never heard that being mixed. Maybe that's something I just never learned.
Mm.
So yeah, I like how you kind of shared that with us. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think it really comes down to each individual's take on it, their preference. I read the full manual 3 times, my Reiki manual. And, what I learned about that, the biggest takeaway I think I shared earlier is really, it's about knowing the place it's coming from. Where is this source of energy coming from? I'm not creating it. So when I perform Reiki on someone else or myself, it's not coming from me. It's a conduit, a channel. It's just strengthening that God-given energy that is within us. But some people are like we can have external injuries, we can have internal injuries. And so if we are suffering one way or another inside, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I would not have the power to fix that in somebody, but to be that help, that conduit, that, like I said, where the intention goes is where energy flows, is really what that's all about. And so it's also to teach people that, if you have a good relationship with God, or if you want to expand that, even just daily prayer practice, that is opening you up to receive, that is opening you up to feel and experience more. And even meditation, it's that quiet time we're so bombarded with everything, with phones, devices, advertisements. Look at this, pay attention to that, do this, do that. Where if we can find time, like I said, in the morning or whatever, to just have that peace and quiet, to be without stuff, and our thoughts are going to keep going, but try to focus on breath and try to focus on acknowledging a thought, letting it pass, and saying, Source, God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, I'm opening myself up to fully allow you to guide my thoughts today. Be my outward energy. Every conversation I have, every thought that I have, every effort I make in my path today. That's really been my guiding force. And so when I coupled it with Reiki, I thought, well, this is only coming from God. So I'm going to make sure that I'm starting from a good place. And I'm just acknowledging my God-given power that I have, that you have, that everyone listening has within us. That's what makes us alive. And I'm just tapping into that with the help of God to help clear those stuck points.
Yeah. And so what do you see typically from clients coming to you? Are they need the exercise, they need the nutrition? I mean, do they need everything all across the board?
Yeah. I think more often than not, it's definitely more about the fitness, because that's just what I've been known for all this time. Past clients, anybody that's known me or through recommendations or through networking. So fitness is typically the first thing because I think it's what I'm trusted with the most. It's my longest history, as well as nutrition. I feel like because it has to be the side by side piece. It's like two wheels of the bicycle, right? Fitness and nutrition. If you're looking to change the shape of your body, change your health, you kind of have to do both. And now I say fitness, I mean just movement, whatever your body can and will do, and that's the guidance. But I feel like more so recently when I'm onboarding, when I'm having communication with a potential client, whether it's just for my community or it's the one-on-one coaching, I always touch on the soul care piece and just its exploration as to what that means to them, what that could mean to them. And at the basis of what it's been, and the most important part that it's got to be is the why. Like everybody's individual, unique. Why did you do this consultation with me? Why are you seeking me out? Why do you want to get healthier? Why do you want to lose 10 pounds? Why do you want to lose 30 pounds? What does it mean to you to do this? What does it mean to you if you don't do this? What will it mean for you? What could potentially happen? And getting them to their deeper sense of why they want to be healthy. And that right there to me is a soul care piece. And so in these conversations, it may mean that I discover that, hey, let's, if they're open to it, we do a Reiki session. I have this thing where it's emotion, so energy in motion. So we start with an exercise session, mild exercise, nothing too crazy, but then we follow it up with the Reiki. So it's external and internal energy, and it's this cool thing. We finish it with some cool down stretches together. So anyway, as I'm speaking with somebody, that's where I really find out what pieces they need most. I don't really know until we have that conversation. If they say their goal is, say a particular amount of weight to lose, but they've always struggled with that, and why haven't they been able to achieve that yet? What's their mental block? What's their energy block that's keeping them from getting from A to B? So it's very unique. And for me, I think it's been so much more fulfilling doing in this way than I had. My old thing was Body by Rachel, and that's great. That was the fitness thing. But this with Health Mood, it is a deeper way to help people on another level. And it's more than just, hey, here's these fitness sessions, and for that short period of time, it works for them. But is it going to stick? Is it a lifelong habit shift? Is it changing something internally as well as externally? Because if it changes the internal, they're more likely to stick with it. And knowing the reasons for it is what's going to carry them into that health span focus, the longevity focus, the long, healthy life focus, as opposed to the short-term goals.
So I consider myself like a curious person. So like Reiki and all that, I'd be like, well, I'll open up to it and give it a shot, see what happens, right? And so for me, it's been like about 2 years now. I've been going to church and stuff and finding God and doing all that. And then meditating has, I don't know, probably been about 4 years or so. So, but it's like, for me, it's something new, and I'm willing to try and see if it sticks. And so those things have stick for me. So if somebody comes to you and says, I need exercise, I want to get more fit, and you go, well, let's do Reiki as well. Do you ever find somebody going, well, that's not what I'm interested in, or they just, stick their nose up in a sense, right? It's new, right? I would imagine it's new to a lot of people that you may talk to. How do you approach that?
Well, I like to educate them as best as possible. I will send them information and they can read just to get a little bit more comfortable about the history of it, knowing that it has its deep roots. It's not a new concept whatsoever. And so it's an ancient form of medicine. And this Japanese practice, it's life force energy. And so as much as I can get someone to understand that it is not a crazy woo-woo thing, anything that's alive has energy flowing through it. And when we can't always see Wi-Fi, we know Wi-Fi is working. You know, we can't see that happening through the air. We can't see that current, but we know that that's something that is allowing us to see each other right now. There's a lot of different ways to explain, but when it comes down to education is the way to go with that. And if they feel uncomfortable with it, after I, of course, tell them my place in it, like where it comes from, I start with prayer, I move into Reiki, and it's all essentially to me one and the same. You know, somebody can look at it as laying hands or praying over somebody, just praying with intention that I'm praying for you right now. That's my intention. I'm praying for you. My energy, my thoughts are things. Thoughts are tangible. Thoughts, we don't give enough credit to thoughts. It can make us sick or it can make us well. If we think, I'm sick, I don't want to say it too much. If we keep thinking those thoughts, it can change our physiology. So if you think, I am well, I am deeply well, I am praying for you, I'm praying this over somebody, I'm praying for somebody that's not even in the same country. Why do we even do that? Because there's intention behind prayer and that energy moves. God moves. So that's kind of how I like to explain it. And if somebody's still uncomfortable, I never force anything on anybody. I'm not going to say, okay, but then 50 burpees now, just, instead. Not everybody's comfortable with burpees either. So it's very, what everybody's comfort level is, what their acceptance level, their cycle of change, their cycle of acceptance. And I like to meet them where they're at. Yeah, because I know that I wasn't always open to this either. I feel like this has opened up my doors for trying new. I have this new phrase that I like to say, like, I'm working on my abs. And I don't mean abdominals. I'm working on my ABS. Always be searching. And it means that you could kind of liken it to, if you're not growing, you're dying. If you're not learning, you're dying. If you're not expanding yourself, you're not always trying to better yourself, seek new ways to help yourself be better. In my world, is to help yourself be healthier. If you're doing this, there's always one more little thing you could do and one more little thing you could learn and another way and new ways you could approach the same thing you were doing. It's so beautiful how endless that could be. Not to be looked at as daunting, but the possibilities are endless. So always be searching was kind of how I felt like I was doing to what I was doing to overcome my self-doubt, my lack of self-confidence, my stuckedness, my stuck feelings, how I was self-sabotaging, all these things. So yeah.
Yeah. And that stuff still comes up, I'm not gonna, for myself too. Right. And that's why you surround yourself with the right people. Because then you can reach out to them and they can listen. And if you want, they can give you the advice back to you or whatever, but yeah, I love what you're doing. I love what you're sharing here. How does somebody reach out to you to learn more about health mood or anything else that you have going on?
So I do my best with socials. I have Facebook and I have Instagram. So on Instagram, it's Rachel_Mateo_ and RachelMateo. And same thing on Facebook, just Rachel Mateo. I put a lot of my business type stuff and value I like to put out there. I put those on my personal pages because I want that to funnel them into interest into health mood. I have a separate health mood Facebook page that people can also follow. So if you're interested in just connecting, sharing a bit about your journey or learning about my journey a little bit more, seeing what works for me and how I've been helping my clients, I would say I encourage you to follow both Rachel Mateo and Health Mood. And it's all one word, Health Mood. Also, I have my website, myhealthmood.com. And it's basically just a nice little landing page where you can plug in your email so you can be in my email list, know the goings on in my world and what I offer. And you could also email me, but I think just myhealthmood.com, where you could enter your email address. I'd be happy to get you in my communication circle.
Awesome. Thank you. And so I ask one question to every guest. I'm sure you maybe already know this, but what are 3 key things you learned and used along your journey?
Ah, um, others, as in other people that I trust and I see good things in, I admire. So number one is to really stay connected with the people that you want closest to you, that you look to for support and encouragement, and you admire them. You see maybe where they've been on their journey, or how maybe they've been successful in an area that you want to be successful in, and always being with your ears open to learn from others. I think it's a hard habit for us to listen more than we speak. Meanwhile, here I am blabbing away. So staying connected and networking. The second thing is, I think I touched on this earlier, is always growing yourself. Self-development is so clutch. Getting started with this on myself with the Miracle Morning, and then joining the, our business leadership group that we belong to, and all of that, like self-development. When I think I'm doing one thing, it's leading me to the next pathway. It's leading me to the next door or window opening. And if we're always open for self-development, you just don't know what that can lead to. So yes, we have to protect our time and keep our vision clear on what we want, and say no to the things that aren't important to us or don't align with our vision. But it's saying yes to the things that have potential and possibilities. And though I could say the third thing is prioritizing and keeping your time sacred, I want to actually switch that to prioritize your health. Prioritize your health. Prioritize your health. I can't say it better and clearer enough, because it's why I am who I am. I feel like we have only so much time on this earth, and it's our life, it's our body, it's who we have. This one chance, as far as we know, to live the best Rachel life, to live the best John life. So it is too damn short to be dictated by somebody else's opinion of us, or thoughts of us, or sway where the wind blows. We've got to figure out who we are and what we enjoy and what makes us the most happy, and do our damnedest to live in that and live by that and act on that daily. And if we're not paying attention to our health in that and prioritizing our health, then in this period of time that we have, hopefully long, on this earth, we're not going to enjoy it to the fullest. We're not going to get the full experience if we're not paying attention to this beautiful gift that we've been given, this body, this mind, whatever the case may be, whatever size and shape it is, whatever struggles we're dealing with, it's still ours. And we can improve it. We can love on it by treating it well. And it only allows us to then bless others with our gifts.
Yeah. Well said. All three of them. I like them all. And so go off of that. Exercise and everything like that. I don't know all the statistics. I hear things, right? There's a lot of people that are not doing it whatsoever. And you can walk around and you can just see it. And it kind of sickens me. Like, I was never the one to work out up till 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But it's definitely changed my life, and it definitely, inside and out. Right. And I would say I don't want to say it's the exact thing opening doors, but I want to say it does open doors. People perceive you and look at you totally different because they see some kind of confidence, discipline, and all the other words that you can add to it just for exercising and being consistent and just showing up and doing your thing. Health, mental health and physical health all together. And I just wanted to go back to where you were saying about connecting and stuff, and listening to others. I had a guest and I just spoke to him yesterday on the phone. I've known him for, I don't know, 10 years, if not more. And so we stay connected here and there. And he shared, it might have been on the podcast too, but he shared a story with me, and he was with a millionaire, billionaire, whatever he was, sitting in a room at a dinner table, and it was just him and this guy, and they were talking. And this other gentleman comes over and sits down and starts telling him about this whole business venture or whatever. So the guy's listening and asks these questions and try to figure out, just understand, right? nothing, from what he told me, nothing became of it. The guy got up and left. And so I consider my friend. He's like, why did you listen to him? Why did you hear what he had to say? I mean, you're making all this money, you're doing your own thing, whatever. And so he shared with him that, well, he might know something I don't. And so he was willing to accept what he had to share with him. And then he was able to decide if he wanted to take action on something or not. So that's why he kept picking his brain a little bit. You know, maybe he knows a way to make more money that I don't. So he allowed the guy to sit down and share. And that's what I think, like you said, with connection, I think that's what we all need. And I think you would agree, like when we were at that event, that's what it was. That's exactly what, you know what I mean? Yeah, there was those moments when we all came together to listen to something, but I think it was outside of that is where everybody grew the most. So connection's a big one. I agree with that as well. So Rachel, I appreciate you coming on, sharing your journey, and hopefully it hits that one person that needs to hear this and start exercising, or, you know, Reiki, whatever that is, or, you know, it gets them to become a better person, and hopefully they can carry out and share that with somebody else in their life too. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's the biggest takeaway I hope that anybody can get from this, is that it doesn't have to be the big overhaul, the big undertaking. It doesn't have to be Reiki at all. It doesn't have to be exercise, fitness. It's just knowing that our bodies are meant to move. Our bodies are meant to have good things put in them, you know, good thoughts, good food, lots of good water. So whatever it is you can do, just find the one thing, as simple as it may seem, and just pick that one little thing and do it for a little bit of time and be consistent with it for that bit of time. And then acknowledge that good thing that you just did, and then find another little thing. It's always about taking that first next step. And so if whatever I'd said, if anything can resonate, just know that you'll be better off for it in the long run, taking that small little thing, that small, good little healthy habit, and just doing one little thing and adding it in and seeing where it takes you. Go from there.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it.